is 10 News at 5.
Well, people use smartphones to do just about anything these days, and that activity is inspiring cyber criminals to try to come up with new ways to hack into the devices. Researchers at the University of Cambridge recently came up with a way to figure out a person's PIN number by using the device's built-in cameras and microphones to secretly record the person's activity. Pretty scary. That type of malware hasn't been seen in public yet. What researchers are trying to do is find security holes before criminals exploit them. Well, for more on the study and safe smartphone practices, we are joined by tech expert Dan Thompson from Claris Networks. Certainly appreciate you being with us. This is pretty incredible, the
Yes.
access that these researchers were able to find.
Yes.
We talked about they were able to get into their cameras and kind of watch their practices. Tell us more how they were able, explain how they were able to gather these PIN numbers.
So this is totally bizarre. So previous to this study, there were studies that came out where they were using, the camera that faces you, the forward-facing camera, to look at the reflection off people's glasses and then read, what they were punching in. Well, these guys said, okay, we're going to do it without glasses. And what they were able to do is, if you think about punching in a pin with one hand, you're using your thumb. As you reach for one side of the keyboard, you'll inevitably twist the phone, right? So they're watching which way the camera goes, and then they're able to predict with a pretty decent percentage with where you're actually touching on the keyboard. Totally wild. So the more times they get to look at it, the better they get. So it started off at like 30% after they've just watched you do it 3 times. As you do it 5 times, and it just keeps on scaling up. So pretty bizarre, and like you said a second ago, pretty scary stuff to think that maybe one day, they'll be able, somebody will write a piece of malware that will take advantage of that. So crazy stuff for sure.
Well, and very eye-opening, and should be eye-opening to us all.
Absolutely, absolutely, yeah. So they also bundled in some suggestions for like smartphone manufacturers to say, hey, when the PIN screen pops up, you should take control of all of those sensors and just make them stop working for a moment. And other things like, the simple thing was if you use 2 hands while you're typing in your PIN, their hack wouldn't work. So which is kind of interesting.
Maybe a silly question. Is there a way to turn off your cameras?
Well, no. So you can get apps to do it, but by default, you can't just disable it while you're doing PIN. So there is an app, I'm forgetting the name of it off the top of my head, but there's an app that will actually take control of some sensors, but it's not across the board. It only works on Android, doesn't work on Apple phones at all. So there's really no good way to do it unless you want to just like get really paranoid and hold your thumb over it while you're doing it. But that's just kind of awkward for everybody.
Well, let's talk about some things that we can do to protect ourselves as far as the information that we put on our smartphones, specifically with like banks and credit cards.
Yes, absolutely. So this is a common conversation that I have with business people because us in business, we like to keep things on our phone because it's mobile. We always have it with us. And so what I like to ask people though is, okay, if somebody stole your phone and they were able to access the information on it, how bad would that be? Would that like ruin your business, just ruin your day, that sort of thing? So it's, things you should think about. So should I keep the credit card number in a text file on my phone? Well, absolutely not. Should I keep bank account passwords on there? Absolutely not. Should I do banking from my phone? Well, maybe. It depends. So if you're at a coffee shop, absolutely not. If you're at home on your wireless, well, maybe. So we kind of have to just ask ourselves, how much convenience are we willing to sacrifice for our own security? Which I lean towards the side of, well, I'm willing to sacrifice a whole lot of convenience just to maintain security. But other people, are a little bit more blasé about the whole thing.
And we're just going to see more and more of this.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. This is not going away by any stretch of the imagination.
So we have to protect ourselves. All
That's right, that's right.
Good to see you. Thanks for coming on. And we'll be right back after this. Stay with us.